Good morning. I'm doing a little stretching before I go out on a walk today or this morning. Um, but Jason and I have a vlog coming out today about Christians engaging in entertainment. We focus a lot of our time talking about Prince Harry's new memoir or autobiography, talking that spills a lot of tea, information, intimate details about his family. And a friend of mine on Facebook today got me really thinking, like, in my head about some stuff. And I thought while I'm stretching, I'd share it with you guys what I'm thinking. 14 years ago, I wrote a letter to my mom that exposed a lot of my feelings and a lot of the ways that I was done with how she was treating me and my family. And in that letter, I told her my perspective of how I saw a lot of the things in our family, particularly things that she was involved in. And I told her, I want to be in a relationship with you, but here are some of my terms. And writing a letter like that or writing something like that, you don't ever walk back from. You never walk back from it. And my friend on Facebook was talking to me about Ronald Reagan's daughter, Patty Davis, who wrote a memoir about herself, but her time in the White House. And, she exposed a lot of things about her parents and their relationship with her. And 30 years later, she says, she has a lot of regrets. And, her relationship with her parents never really recovered and was never really the same. And how can it be, right? It's something, you do something like that and it's forever going to be changed. So Patty Davis, has been offering a lot of advice for Harry over the last, week or so. She wrote an op-ed. She's been doing different interviews with people talking about her experience of doing something very similar to him. And, she has such wisdom and poignant advice. She's not condemning. I feel like so many public people have been so condemning towards him. Either, it's either on the spectrum, right? They're either like, yes, tell your truth, you do you, they're terrible people. And then there's people, you're a whiny brat, how could you? But she is giving him like sound biblical advice, in my view, of telling your truth is not going to heal you, and exposing all of the abuse that you're claiming is not going to heal you. And I think that is very wise and beautiful advice, telling him maybe, step back for a minute. Sometimes silence is more healing than you think. That really got me thinking. I mean, you can't tell somebody what to do and how to heal. And if this is what he's chosen, then it's what he's chosen. And he's going to live with the consequences of that, whatever they are, for the rest of his life. And I'm fairly sure that this is not going to reconcile him to his family, even though he says he wants reconciliation. But you don't walk back something like this, that's not how you reconcile. But it has got me thinking about, my own personal story and my relationship with my family and being estranged from them, mostly because of the letter I sent. But it was also a very cognizant choice that I made, knowing that they probably wouldn't choose, the stipulations I gave them. And that I'd have to live with that and be okay with that. Oh, this stretch feels good. I started, see these weights up here? I started doing a little bit of weights, I'm not going to even call it lifting or training. I just have been doing a little bit of like exercises with weights, and I couldn't sit on the toilet this morning because I'm a weak person. So anyways, after that letter, I chose silence. I also didn't write a tell-all, memoir that went through the whole world, that the whole world read, right? But I did cognizantly choose to not tell my story publicly about my parents. I've written about my granddad. I've written about different aspects of my family life. But I chose to not air the dirty laundry of my family out of respect and love for my family. And I also never wanted them to accuse me of lying or defaming them in some way. And, of course it's not to the same scale as the royal family, but my family, my mom, my dad, my brother, they've told so many lies to people who I was close with, and I've had to take a lot of those extra people out of my life who believed my parents and my family about the things that they were saying. I never tried to defend myself and fight for myself and tell them that, this is not true. This is who I am. I quietly just said, if you choose to believe that, then I can't change that, and I have to walk away. And I know that a lot of people don't understand that. And it almost feels like a previous life. A lot of these people who I had to walk away from, it feels like a previous life. Yeah, definitely. And a lot of them don't understand. And I'm seen as a just terrible daughter who keeps her grandkids away from her mother, who is selfish and uppity. And, that's part of the narrative, the lies that I can't change. And I could spend a lot of my energy trying to expose those lies, tell them my own truth, to fight for their opinion of me. But I don't want to do that. I can't change people's minds. I can't. And I think at the end of the day, it's giving people space to believe what they want to believe and to not let that take up so much space in my brain. And it's been very healing for me. And so I don't know if to connect that to Harry's story, it's a very different situation. He does have a family who tells the world stories about him through the press, right? Palace sources. And so there are global lies being told about him. So I can't even pretend to understand what that's like. I can only understand a little bit. And even now, with him telling his truth, writing his memoir, doing a docuseries on Netflix and interviews with people, you're never going to change people's minds. People already made up their mind about him before he wrote any of that stuff. If you were a royalist, Team Royal, you stayed Team Royal, right? No one said, oh man, Harry is kind of right. No one did that. It just made people more staunchly on their own side. And that's really how I viewed my family situation. And why I knew that fighting publicly, stuff was written about me on Facebook, 10 years ago, 14 years ago. And I could have publicly fought for myself, but I didn't. And I did it purposefully. And I still have not told people, I've tried to keep my mother and my stepdad and my brother's dignity intact by not exposing a lot of our family secrets. And I would like to keep it that way. And even people who eventually did come to realize that, oh, I think Ashley may have been right. I didn't, it was no, oh, I told you so. It was never anything like that. But it was also keeping those people at arm's length as well. Still keeping them there, because it felt messy. And I didn't, the condition of being in my life is not what you believe about my past or my family. And I have just had to keep a lot of degrees of separation from people from my past, and family friends and friends from high school who have been in relationship with my parents and believed my parents and participated in, believing their story about me, just to protect myself and my family. Because I really have reached a point in my life where I don't feel like I have to defend myself from people. Even, friends who I've lost over the years who've told people things about me that aren't true, or them trying to expose their own truths. And I've had to distance myself from them, but also not try to defend myself. And people who believe those friends, I've had to say, I'm sorry, I wish you well. I hope you can be a good friend to them. But there's no space in my life for you right now or ever. But I don't feel the need to fight and defend myself. And everybody's different in how they handle this kind of stuff. I was telling my friend on Facebook about Patty Davis that it's so countercultural to tell somebody living your truth or telling your truth, or exposing, abuses and lies is not always going to make you feel good. It's actually probably going to do the opposite. And sometimes you reach a point in a fight where you're like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And that's okay. And there's wisdom in that, and silence, and backing away and protecting yourself. And I think Patty Davis has a lot of wisdom. And for me, it helps to kind of validate decisions I've made. But it also makes me feel very sad for Harry. And I hope that you hate to see families fractured like that. And you want to see them thrive and do well, and be reconciled. But that's not always possible. And everybody heals differently. So it's another thing. And the other side of the coin is, who am I or Patty Davis to tell anybody how they should heal, how they should reclaim their voice. The popular way to do it is to shout loudly to reclaim your voice. But another way to reclaim your voice is to be silent and to be careful and protect your voice. But who are we to tell others how to do it? So anyways, it's got me thinking lots of things in my feels and in my thoughts this morning. And now that I'm stretched out, I want to go on a walk and think about it some more, because it's very close and personal to me. And I'm hoping Harry finds some peace in all of this somewhere. I don't know how, because this is crazy.